Don't fuck up my steak dinner, Gary.
We're talking about more albums today. Because
albums.
that's all there is to do. Is just talk about stuff.
Yep.
In the basement.
So last time we did our 5 top albums of all time.
Was it top 5?
Yeah, we did 5 albums of all time. And
you shot it like days ago.
He was here for it.
I was.
But anyway, so this time what we're going to do, buddy, old pal, is we're going to do 5 albums from 5 years. The top 5 and 5. That's what we're going with.
5, 5, 5, 5.
The 5 and 5.
I don't know where the third 5 comes from. But
we're going to do this in... There's going to be a 5 denomination of sorts.
I like the word denomination, yeah. So, this was your idea, so why don't you start with...
All right. I'm going to
your
start
number 5. And I want to know the year that it's from.
Oh, crap.
Probably not? No, okay. Well, you know what? Y'all are on a computer, so you can look it up.
Also, we may have some edits to add to last week's episode, and this week's episode, and all future episodes.
Have you watched that?
We will be wrong.
This is spoilers.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna
what's
be wrong.
your number 5,
My
Daniel?
number 5, so I kind of did the same thing as last
By the way, we haven't seen each other's lists like we did last time.
We're keeping these a secret. So again, my 4 are going to be not really in any order, and then I'm going to have a top 1.
Okay.
I do have a ton of honorable mentions.
I don't have any. I mean, I'll have some,
I'm
but
going to bring
that's
some
up.
up.
List.
I came up with like 4 really easily, and then the 5th one I debated on. Very, very, very difficult. So anyway, I'll start with my number 5. We're gonna call it Cytotoxin Gamageddon.
I hate you.
I know.
I didn't
think about it.
I literally did not think of any.
There was something else in my 5th spot, and then it'll be mentioned in my honorable mentions, and then it was something else. There was a few things before I landed on Cytotoxin.
Yeah. I would say one of my favorite album covers.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool. That's the
so
only
real.
reason I listened to the album, because I didn't give a shit about the album before
I've listened back to it.
It's really good.
Radiophobia.
I did not get it when I first heard it. So.
No, that's understandable, but really good. And Gamageddon just slays.
Dude, you and I discovered that I got the record and I brought it over and we just hoot and hollered over those fucking Germans.
Yeah.
I thought they were Russians at first. They're Germans.
Understandable. But you brought it over first. You introduced me to it. And as soon as I heard it, I was freaking hooked. A lot of things about that album that just stood out to me. Super chromatic guitar playing, like crazy riffing, just like chaotic, but still so groovy.
Really catchy.
You
remember everything on that.
You do. You remember a lot with that one. But it's one of those you can listen to a bunch of times and you still find something you didn't hear. Like, it's that dense that you can keep going back to it.
Yeah.
I think this was 2016. I think.
I don't remember either.
Because
I don't
the year thing.
Necessarily log the stuff.
Yeah, but very, very cool album. Radiation, nuclear fallout themed death metal.
They are not happy with Chernobyl.
No, they claim to be Chernobyl death metal, and they embody it. I mean, holy shit.
It's a really cool theme.
It is. It's a very cool theme, and they have so many things to work on with that. They bring out the whatever the device is that detects radiation. Geiger counter. Thank you. Do you have a Geiger counter? Mine's in the shop. Fallout reference. Dan's
a Fallout nerd.
I'm a big nerd. I like this.
We're both nerds, but
like
you're a bigger
theme.
Fallout nerd. It's kind of more or less they can kind of just play on like radiation.
Yeah.
If you want to get down to like the very basics of that theme, it's like radiation.
Radiation. Also, Fallout. I mean, post-apocalypse. Post-apocalyptic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a word.
It is a word.
I should have remembered. Post-apocalyptic. But back to the music. One of the other things that drew me in, the Inhale. Not Inhale. I don't think.
I don't think he does inhale.
I don't think he inhales, but he gets this like super guttural, like pig squealy vocal that for a long time in my life I wasn't a fan of. And these guys do it so well.
He makes it work, man. He's one of the. I mean, and
they don't do it every album. This album is almost special because he does it more on this one, and the newest one he doesn't.
God, yeah, I think
so.
I don't know. You'd have a better ear for this than me, but I feel like he layered the fuck out of the vocals on the newest album.
Yeah,
Gaddar is way better of a vocalist.
He's a fantastic vocalist.
So one of my favorite things, and I've not been able to find the clip again, but what sold me on the band was the video of them playing in a show. I think it was when they were on tour with Benighted and Aborted, when he starts doing pull-ups on the light rigging with the microphone in his mouth, just going like during a breakdown. Sequence with the breakdown.
If I'm not mistaken, that live video is my favorite song. Maybe I might be wrong. I think it was. I went with my favorite song is oh boy, I didn't write it down. Crap! It's the first one on the album. Generous, yeah.
Some kind of Latin.
Radiaxis Generis.
Yeah, I know
it was the first song on the album. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. It's cool.
It's on my notes on my phone.
Look, we can't remember every single fucking Latin song title that these motherfuckers come up with. It's a dead language, guys.
Again, the chromatic,
it's really tight.
Crazy guitar.
Then
dude's like doing pull-ups with the microphone in his mouth. Like, he's not holding the mic. It's he's like,
it's so good. And that dude, and even better,
there's a big muscly dude just doing pull-ups, and it's
like
just,
even funnier is when you
absurd.
Look into that guy and he's super health conscious and he's like a big vegan.
Oh yeah,
he brings like fruit and stuff with him on tour.
Oh yeah,
of course it's Europe, so they can probably just
do that in the studio. He's like the cook, and he's got all this like fresh produce and
hell
shit.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Like we're all about meat,
fantastic.
but I mean, that's awesome. Like and
yeah,
my favorite track I would say is probably Game Again. Probably the title track.
So good. It's hard to pick favorite
It
tracks.
really is, and there's a lot going on that one. I still say I have went back and listened to it recently, and I think Nuclear, the newest one, has way better production. The vocals sound amazing. I feel like Game Again's a little thin of production versus the new one, which whatever.
That's fair, but I think the thinness just is more a side effect of the technicality, because this one's a little more technical. Mm-hmm. Nuclear Earth is just a little more brutal, which they're both so good.
God, one of the best tech metal bands out there.
Fantastic.
Arcspire's amazing, but Cytotoxin.
I hope to see Cytotoxin live.
They're a bucket list band.
They're up there.
Bucket list band. That and Bolt Thrower, because that'll never happen.
Well, yeah.
Anyways.
All right. Well, that's mine. Now let's move on to Lyndon's number 5.
So, I think it's funny that you picked Cytotoxin for your first one, because my first one is a band that they were on tour with on the European tour. It's also funny that you picked Cytotoxin because my list is very incorporated with that tour.
Awesome.
My first list, as I can find the page, was Benighted, Obscene, Repressed, which came out this year.
Honestly, I haven't listened to that.
I sent it to you, and I know you jammed it a little bit. But I did. Yeah, I need to get the record.
And I know I liked it.
So this is fun because we haven't talked about one where you haven't really listened to it.
Yeah.
And so like I've been really obsessed with tech death the past 7 or 8 months. Actually, since Cytotoxin. Since I broke into Cytotoxin. Yeah. Like I was always a big Origin fan and Arcspire obviously, but man, after Cytotoxin I was like, this is the fun way to do tech death.
Yeah.
Along with Psychroptic too.
Yeah.
They're their own thing, but it's like there is such an interesting, and Benighted to me is that album. I have gone back and kind of explored some of the rest of their discography, and it's one of those bands where I'm like, and I have a couple bands on this list that are this, and it's why the fuck haven't I been listening to this band for forever? Why did I ignore them for so long? And I think it's because sometimes their song titles get a little weird, their album titles get a little weird. There's literally a song on this album called "Mother, I Love You in the Wrong Way." Weird guys, fucking weird. But
yeah,
I think
yeah,
they're
yeah.
French, so I don't know if that makes
that's
sense.
fair.
But holy
Either
shit!
way, your first point there, I feel that all the time, weekly, maybe every 2 weeks. Like I find some band and I'm like, what? I know I've heard this name.
Yeah.
Why haven't I listened to this?
Why didn't I just take 5 minutes? By the way, take fucking 5 minutes to listen to something. I don't care if somebody told you to. Just take 5 minutes.
You never know. You're gonna find
Spotify. This is the greatest time in the history of metal.
You might find something good.
It's all at your fingertips. Just listen to something.
Just go. Do it.
And so, anyways, Benighted. Tech death with like a napalm death riffing kind of style, where it's just like. Why
haven't I listened?
Why haven't you been listening to this band, Dan? Holy shit! But I mean, it's got everything. It's got vocals that are fucking. It's all in your face. It's really fucking just violent. And I mean, the first track, right? The first track has the weirdest opening. I can't tell what the audio is. It sounds like a guy crunching on bones, like in his mouth. It's like some weird ASMR shit. Breaks into this just insanity, and then I mean, at the end, it's like a 2.5 minute song that ends with vomit. I mean, it's and it's just holy shit. I mean, I've not been able to. I told you earlier today. I made this list based on things I've just not been able to stop listening to.
Yeah, that's what I went off of.
Yeah, and man, this album, I go back to it like a weekly basis. It is just a go-to, and it's so mean, and just there are golden moments where it's, there are like not breakdowns, but like, just heavy bridges that are just aggressive.
Oof.
And I can't stop. And it's got everything. They were on tour with Cytotox.
Yeah.
And it's like,
sold it for me.
dude, I'm in. And I still feel like they're kind of underrated.
Yeah. Benighted.
Same with Cytotoxin.
I'm going to listen to Benighted.
Benighted, Obscene Repressed.
Damn.
So that's my number 5.
We're
off to a fiery
good
start.
One.
Children.
We got real death metal there.
This fucking hazy's hitting me.
Woo! I got 6 of them.
Anyways, Dan, it is your number 4.
Time for my number 4.
I'm excited because I don't know.
Like I said, I'm honestly picking the order as I go because I don't necessarily have a number
natural.
one.
I know where
they are very, very good.
You're way more organized than I am, but I make stiffer lists.
I wrote down the songs though.
Okay.
My number 1 songs.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm gonna go. Well, again, not in any order. Yep. I'm gonna go Cattle Decapitation Death Atlas, because holy shnikes. Is that a beautiful album? I mean, horrifyingly beautiful. So poignant. Hopefully it doesn't ring true for some years. Very, very apocalyptic. So apparently I've gone real apocalyptic with my first two bands. But no, this album, like the way they blend in, like the they're like telling a story with it. Like they blend in the audio samples that are like, the earth is ended and all these. Yeah. It sounds like a news report happening kind of thing. Okay. And they blend that into the intro. There's an intermission. And there's like, but
it has a very obvious sequence.
Yeah. I mean, they really, really nailed it. And I feel like Trevor completely mastered his technique. That guy has developed an entire vocal technique.
I don't mean to cut you off. So it's the vocalist for Cattle Decap. His name is Trevor, and Black Dahlia Murder also has a vocalist named Trevor.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
I might be wrong.
Okay. Is it
again? We're gonna put a little asterisk there, and we're gonna look back at that. But I'm pretty sure. No, Trevor Strand. Yeah, that's his name. No, that is absolutely.
That's Black Dahlia Murder.
No, it's not.
Trevor Strand. Yeah. I think you're thinking of Travis.
Oh, is it?
Woo-wee!
Man,
it is Travis. Okay. I don't remember his last name.
I just saw a Christmas song that Allegion and
Travis,
both those guys
Travis
did.
Trevor Stern. Holy shit!
Yeah,
Trevor and Travis and the guy from Allegion.
Yeah, all those guys, and it's amazing.
Hey, we drank. Get over it.
Anyway.
Yeah, no.
The vocalist, nasty guy. I mean, we saw him. I saw him live. I don't know. Have you seen Cattle?
No, but I would before
man.
you even go there. I want you to pick up back where you were leaving off because you were 100% correct.
I forgot where it was. Oh yeah, he mastered his
technique.
Because he has this like singing, growling.
It sounds like it hurts.
It's
his clean vocals.
Yeah,
it's not really clean.
It's not even clean a little bit. It's a completely distorted like falsetto almost. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
So I'm glad you.
Because he hits this like I can't do it.
I'm telling you, it's
it's so weird.
The title track came on earlier today while I was driving to work, and
it's so good.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite song. I'll put it out there right now. That's my favorite song on the album. I'm not a huge. I'm gonna say this album was cool. I really liked it. It didn't make any like top lists for me because of another album that I have on my list that completely just kind of booted it aside.
Foreshadowing.
But
back to Death Atlas.
Yes, it's so good.
Oh my gosh, masterpiece. And I'll go with my favorite song is Vulturous.
That's the one with the part.
Yeah, it's got a lot of parts.
I just songs have always air drum it when it comes on?
It's yes, and it's because of the drums, partially. I mean, it hits this part where the guitars are chugging in a very slammy way, and it's the end of the song, and an artful ending to a song is huge, of course. And the end of this song hits this like and then they do it again, they refrain it even slower. And with the fastest like double pedal of last time through it. And I totally stole that trick.
I was just going to say, go back and listen to probably the last Pit Lord album and EP, and Dan,
I stole it.
Dan probably stole that.
I fucking stole it.
It's not stealing, it's an homage.
It's a complete homage.
Spelled with an H. No, it's
the guitar playing is so dry and technical on this one. It's such a cool blend of black metal, death metal, and just a whole new thing.
They really are their own thing. I have a weird relationship with that band because they got really popular when we were in high school.
Yeah, and I don't care for those as much.
I don't like those earlier albums. Really.
I like them. I respect them.
Sure, I'll respect them. I've listened to all of them at this point, just like a tad here and there. This has been the album I've listened to the most by them, and it's got everything.
They've really come into their own.
You're going to hear me mention album art all the time because that's such a huge thing for me, because that's like the first thing you see.
Yeah, and artwork is
it's just
phenomenal. Phenomenal.
That record, that press you have, that gold and whatever shit is.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a band that thinks about everything. Yeah. That's a smart band does that, and like
again, a vegan band.
Yeah, do they still do that?
I picked two of those.
That's one reason I avoided them when I was like younger, because I was like, that's such a lame.
It's a weird theme,
and I see it kind of fade out from later on. But hey, they deserve all the respect because they've been around forever. At this point,
and okay, I just want to tie in one last story, and then we'll move to your next one. Is I did see them live at Robot Mosh Fest. And you should probably hate me for all the things I'm about to say, because I saw them forever ago with Derek and Damp and all of our old buddies.
Decapitated on that show?
Decapitated.
I was supposed to go to that.
Okay, but right after Decapitated, you know who played? Necrophagist. I saw Necrophagist. I get to hold that over everybody. Anyway, also Cattle Decapitation and Cephalic Carnage were on that. And Cattle Decap, that fucking dude, it was in a skating rink, and this vocalist, again, Trevor, whatever the guy's name.
It was skate rink?
Where was this? It was in Milwaukee. It was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it was in a skating rink, and the stages were side by side, because they were bouncing back and forth between the two stages, because it was a fest. And the rafters were pretty low over the stage, and this motherfucker's hanging from the rafters upside down doing his vocals. He's gross. He's like blowing snot rockets everywhere and spitting.
He looks like a gross guy.
He's a gross guy. But then this girl gets crowd surfed up on stage, and she gets dropped on stage right behind him, and he like looks behind him, and he just goes, and he just blasts. he blasts a snot rocket on her.
That's like the Zapruder film.
Oh, yeah.
It's
so gross.
Back and to the left.
Oh, man, so gross. But they were
great.
fantastic.
I'd see them. You know, they probably wouldn't be the band that would draw me to the show if it was just them. I don't know if...
You know, like I said, with what they've been doing recently, I would love to see it.
Was his vocals similar then? Or that was like 2007.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a little more traditional, guttural, death metal-y stuff.
But yeah, I mean...
He didn't quite do the singing stuff yet.
I will definitely say, last point about that album is his vocals are probably the one, the thing that shines the most.
Yeah. He's
like that sets them apart. Just that. Now from there on, that will be their thing.
Absolutely.
He has this crazy...
And he did introduce the album before this.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
I don't remember that.
And it was really good then, but it wasn't quite there. And then this album, it just
sounds like it hurts. I mean,
it does.
As somebody who can't do clean singing other than when I'm drunk and we're listening to Nevermore.
It's such an effect that he's doing. Yeah. Like it's a
curious
technique.
To know what he does and if he does anything in the studio. He's got to layer it somehow, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming there's some layers.
Dan knows all the engineering stuff. I don't.
I'm assuming there's some layers, but that dude's doing some fucking...
He's doing some weird shit.
So,
cool.
Anyway, that's my number 4. Let's move.
Dope fucking list. All right, so, my next one is also a band you've probably never listened to. I can't believe you're doing that. That's so disgusting.
A little sip.
It's like a stepdad. My number 4 is a band I think I've probably played for you once and you've never, and not again. It's not even an album that I own.
I'm bad about that.
This is a band called Bolzer. Bolzer. It has little dots over the O. So
the fuck have I been?
I know. So they're a band from Switzerland. It's a drummer and a guitar player. Last time I checked.
I knew you were going to do this to me, by the way. I knew. All right, so a little backstory. We started making these lists today, as we did with our last podcast.
We're both working.
Yeah, we're supposed. I was working, but
I wasn't.
You know, to the extent that I worked.
I wasn't. Fuck my job.
Yeah. Anyway, but I knew Lennon was gonna pick all this obscure stuff, and
they're not that obscure. I'm gonna say they're not that obscure.
Okay, so I purposely went less obscure.
Okay.
I picked more major bands.
Look, I will promise you that my next one is the opposite.
Okay, perfect. Go on.
So is the one after that. So, but this is about as obscure as it gets.
Yeah.
On my list. So Bolzer. They're a band from Switzerland. They're really into psychedelics. It is a guitar player and a drummer, at least live.
Yeah.
Super interesting band. They've essentially only released one album. The rest has all been mini albums.
Okay.
So they don't call them EPs. They're mini albums. There's like 3 or 4 songs, and each song is like 8 or 9 minutes long.
Oh well.
I have an album.
Pretty much an album.
Oh yeah, but
yes, a little bit shy.
Compact, right? And they've just kind of done that.
I like it
since 2012. I have an album by them called Aura. I'll bring it over one day. You'll really like it. It is. They are so. If I get to start my own project soon, hopefully this summer, it's going to be something along these lines, because holy shit, they are so unique and just trance-inducing. It's kind of something that you'll put on while you're doing stuff, but every now and then it'll catch you and you'll be like, what? Like, what in the fuck?
Why haven't I been listening to this again?
He may not think that when I show it to him.
That's the name of this episode.
But I have a really cool interview by the guitar player when they talk about like all just doing psychedelics.
Yeah.
They're really cool. Anyways, the album was it's the only full album they've done. It came out 2016. It's called Hero.
Okay.
And it's really hard to explain. This is my only reservation about putting this on my list was
perfect
it's like,
subject for a podcast.
Well, hopefully there's like probably 5 people that know what band I'm talking about.
Well, go listen to it, you'll understand.
And I'll bring over one of the albums next time we're changing records, and you'll probably get it. But Hero is I'll send you a link to Spotify since you use Spotify finally.
Sure.
And it's weird.
I'd rather buy a record because I support my artists. And so does Lyndon. We buy shit.
Yeah, we do.
All our favorite bands, we buy stuff. Anyway.
But it's very I don't know how to explain it. It's extreme, but not in like a violent sense. It's almost like Opeth, but if Opeth did more psychedelics and were more out of their minds, and from Switzerland.
Wow.
Big difference between Sweden and Switzerland. Everybody from Switzerland's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a Celtic Frost
Never
sort
been.
of Hellhammer element to it, and
Gotcha.
and the vocals are more sort of like a throaty kind of yell rather than like a raspy scream.
I like that.
And there's a lot of like, it's, again, that's not going to mean anything to you too. But
this
it is
isn't Ghost Bath, is it?
no,
Right.
no, fuck that band.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. They're so interesting, and they're one of my favorite bands I've heard. I mean, of all time.
Wow.
I know that's saying a lot because
Saying a lot.
I didn't really include them on my last list. Which
A lot
I'm
of
kinda
time
kicking
out there.
myself. Really
Might
good.
be infinite.
They've been around. They've been putting out stuff since 2012, and it's every couple of years. But Hero is something to totally listen to.
All right.
It's one of those things where you go, why hasn't this happened 100 times already? It totally has.
Yeah.
They are so unique. And it's again, when I put this on my list, I was like, I just have to talk about it, even though it's going to be really hard to explain.
I like
it. It is the most different, it
like
is the most out there thing I have on this list.
Excellent.
And I don't have a favorite song necessarily, because it's one of those things where it all just kind of, they're separate songs, but when you're listening to it, you just kind of drone out.
Yeah,
and
it's meant to be listened to
very
front to back.
front to back.
Yeah.
And that's all of Bullshit.
I
It's
love
meant
that.
to be heard from beginning to end. And
I love that.
I mean, Roman Acupuncture, Aura, Stepes,
Yeah.
Hero, and their most recent one came out last year, I think.
Okay.
I don't remember the title.
No,
but
album.
they have really weird album covers. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Album. I don't know. I'll call it concept, even though I don't mean a concept album.
Mhm.
Really important to me. Like
So-
having the artwork, having the songs laid out in a really good way.
It all fits. It all
I
fits.
mean, that's really important to me because I do like to sit down and listen to an album. You know, I'm not that guy that wants to hear the singles. Like,
You're not one of those people that's like, how many songs can I fit on this iPod?
yeah. All I ever had was a mini. That was my biggest one.
I had a Zune.
I had an 8 gig mini. And that was like the highlight of my life. I could hook it up to my Buick Regal's CD player, or like, you know, back in 2005.
Mhm.
Yeah. iPods.
But
What an era.
yeah, it was good though. I used it for a while.
Yeah, but did you have a mini disc player?
No, did you?
Oh, yeah. I had a mini disc player. It was,
Shit. Did you have an Agoraphobic Nosebleed album? Because I think that's the only band that released.
No. Well, no, I mean, with the mini discs, you could put the songs on them. So I had the thing on my computer. And
I didn't know that.
on a Windows media player, and you could dump songs onto it, but you could only put it was like 40 songs on each of those things. So
That's like 5 albums.
you know, it wasn't bad, but
You put half the Cannibal Corpse discography.
yeah. So
Anyways, Bolzer,
all right,
Hero.
Bolzer, Hero.
2016. If you haven't listened to them, check it out. It's really cool, and I'll link you to it, and
I'm gonna listen to
I'll
it.
bring over Aura. Aura's
Yeah.
my favorite album
Okay.
of theirs,
right.
but it did not work with the time
Sure.
scale. Otherwise, it would have made that.
You know what? I had one of those on my list as well.
But
you know
let's- Yeah,
let's go to that then.
Yeah, so that was my number. What?
We're on,
4.
that was 4. Yeah, we're on 3 now.
So you're number 3.
So my number 3. You know what? I will go with. I'm gonna go with what I just said because I just said it. I'm gonna go with the album that the time that it came out depended on which one I was gonna pick.
Okay.
So the one I really wanted to pick was 2012, but I only recently found out about this band within the last 5 years. So that's why it came up, and that's why I wanted to add it to the list. But they did have another release right after that in I think this one was 2015. Yeah, this was 2015. So I went with exactly 5 years from now. So this is Black Breath.
Oh,
This is
shit.
Slaves Beyond Death.
Ah.
Such a good record.
But you wanted to do Sentence to
I
Life.
wanted Sentence to Life real bad.
Yeah.
Because, man, out of the last 10 years, that is my favorite album.
Man, honestly, that's
But-
another one I'm mad I didn't.
But within the last 5 years, Slaves Beyond Death,
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Really great. A lot more mature. Like I think Sentence to Life is kind of like, they were just writing a crazy heavy album, but Slaves Beyond Death is a little more put together.
They have a interesting timeline because their earlier stuff is almost a little more punky, thrashy.
Kind of more crossover.
Yeah, a little more crossover. And then they like matured into Sentence to Life with like just into like beyond thrash, or beyond crossover almost. Very HM2, very heavy. And then Slaves Beyond Death, they really, I mean, it's super heavy, super thrashy, super fast, or not fast, but like driving.
Yeah.
But they do hit those very melodic parts as well.
So I will say that I don't know that one nearly as well as Sentence to Life, but that's not saying much because I've listened to Slaves Beyond Death a lot.
Oh yeah,
more in the last few years.
Super fantastic.
And the song I love, I can't even remember the title of, but there's a handful of songs like that just.
Oh, it's so great, and and then again, it's a great listen, start to finish. It really flows well. One of the things I really love from these guys is they do have a live studio video that's on YouTube where they play one from Sentence to Life, and then they play one from Slaves Beyond Death.
Is that the black and white one that we watched? Did we watch that one?
Is it black and white?
So I feel like the vocalist
it's
wearing
called The
sunglasses.
Waiting Room. Yeah, he's wearing sunglasses. And it's
holding the mic stand.
Yeah. Oh
which
my
is
gosh.
the coolest thing you could ever fucking do.
And it sounds like the album. I mean, they live sounded so good. Just through that video, I haven't actually seen them. This is a bucket list band for me at this point because I would love to see them. I know the bass player passed away, which is a huge.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's sad.
He played that dope ass V.
Yeah, he did.
I normally don't like that smooth Gibson V.
It's a Kramer V.
Is it a Kramer?
Yeah, because it's got the aluminum fork neck. Yeah, I'm a gear nerd. That's me. But holy crap! And I'm gonna go with my favorite song is the title track because that's the one from that live thing. And
that makes me want. I'm gonna listen to that.
I mean, man, talk about just all around so good. Like the way it just tugs. It's got a good live feel. It's got a good push and pull.
It is a band that you listen to when you're wearing this jacket and you got sunglasses and you walk into the bar at night and you're like, fucking give me a redheaded slut shot because I like sweet shots, not Jack. But we're gonna fuck everything up anyways.
Whatever, man.
I know.
It doesn't even matter what you do.
It's party.
As long as you listen to Black Breath, you're having a good time.
Fucking wall of sound like HM2.
Yeah, but super well done. Again, like they get this leads, the melodies. I mean, the two guitar parts.
There is a melodic thing going on. It's subtle, but it's there, and
so good.
And it's the vocals. Everything just comes together.
Oh, vocalist fantastic.
I'm glad you put Black Breath on the list because I completely didn't even. I'll be honest. I was looking at a Wikipedia list for each year, 2015 through 2020, because I cannot.
I did a little bit of that.
And fuck you, Wikipedia, not mentioning Black Breath.
Yeah.
Or our band. But yeah, that's awesome. Super awesome album.
And now I pass it over to you.
I don't want that. Get that away from me.
All right, on to your third band.
Straight liquor. I'm not I'm a trailer trash. Dan's not either. He's just got a story.
No, typically I have like a nice Scotch glass with like the ice cube, but we're doing a metal podcast, so
we'll do an alcohol episode.
They're all alcohol episodes.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen otherwise. So number 3. I said this is probably the most mainstream one I have on my list, and that's 2015 Soilwork, The Ride Majestic.
All right.
Which I think
interesting.
Yeah, so
interesting pick.
So I'm a huge Soilwork fucking nerd. I love that. I love them since I first listened to Natural Born Chaos. I think it's one of the greatest albums ever.
Yeah.
Wasn't on my list of favorite albums, but suck it.
Yeah, you can't limit it to 5.
No,
there's too many favorite albums.
And we've mentioned before that list changes all the time, but. Soilwork, I love them to death. Stabbing the Drama came out when we were in high school, and I fucking I'm gonna be honest. I drove drunk to that album a lot, and I didn't crash.
Yeah, we
to
live in
that
Iowa.
one.
There's not a lot of
Yeah, it
traffic.
doesn't matter.
Not a lot of traffic.
But they kind of fell off for me for a little bit.
They did.
Stabbing the Drama was really, really good, and that's, I think, Devin Townsend produced the drum tracks on that one. And then the next one also, the Sworn to Great Divide. But then there was, like, the Panic broadcast after that. I'm like, nah, nothing really catchy, right? And then, and I don't know exactly what happened. I want to say Peter Witchers was on guitar again. Or had somebody come back in the band. I don't remember who. Like, I didn't do a whole lot of research on this one. But holy shit, dude. The Ride Majestic. It is, if Natural Born Chaos is my favorite Soilwork, this is my second favorite. Almost tying for favorite of all time. I think it's a band that's been around for so long. It's one of those Gothenburg bands.
Yeah.
In Flames can suck a dick now. So many of those. Opeth, they're doing their own thing. All these Gothenburg bands that kind of just went these weird directions or just stopped doing cocaine in Flames. But man, Soilwork has, and like I said, they have albums that kind of, crawl or rise and dip. But man, the Ride Majestic, I think, is the perfect balance of what they've been doing, because there's Dirk Verbeuren doing blast beats.
Oh,
which I've never really heard Soilwork do much of.
Yeah.
And, dude, it's...
Talk about a fantastic drummer.
One of the best, man. I mean...
And again, so something I was going to bring up is he also played in Sidereed, which I would say is the reason I'm not that into Soilwork, is there's bands...
Which is so backwards, but I understand it.
Outweigh it.
I understand it. I love Sidereed.
I feel like there's things that are better at doing what Soilwork does.
Trying to do, yeah.
But Soilwork is fantastic. They have a legacy. I mean, holy
and
crap.
I would can't
argue with it.
My biggest point for this album was going to be the vocals and the speed. Speed Strip. One of my favorite, if not my favorite vocalist of all time, next to Eric Rutan.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I know.
All right.
We haven't had that discussion yet, but I think Speed, so...
That's another podcast.
It is. That's another episode. So I had a huge Scar Symmetry phase, and I still like them, but...
I do.
But that vocalist...
his growls were some of my favorites. His singing...
Overproduced.
Okay, overproduced.
Fantastic,
that's a good word.
But hey, let's
really
do 4 harmonies in the studio and never be able
really
to...
good, but a little too polished.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love him. That's another podcast. But he was doing what I think Speed was in the middle of, like, perfecting, and I think the Ride Majestic, in my opinion, my honest, humble opinion, is that Ride Majestic is the perfect vocal album for Scar Symmetry.
Right.
Scar Symmetry.
Whoops.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I know you haven't listened to this one a ton.
No, I honestly haven't listened to it at all. So I will have to give it a shot.
Absolutely should.
Absolutely.
100%. If there is an album on
Why
your
haven't
list,
I been listening? Why haven't I listened to this? But title of the podcast.
that's good.
Go ahead.
But that's how we produce.
Yeah.
So, but 100%. It's one of my favorite albums in a long time. Like I said, this came out 2015.
Yeah.
They've released a full length since then. Their newest EP is really, really good. Because it's got a 16-minute Soilwork song on it. Okay. And it's like, how the fuck, when did they start doing that kind of a thing? Amazing. I would recommend that too, but the Ride Majestic, it's so catchy, it's so well done, it is so, like, every song is good. This is where we get into that part in the list where every song is good. It sticks with you, it's memorable. Like I said, the drums are brutal, but also, like, it all fits.
Yeah.
And our friend Justin, who's a huge Soilwork fan,
yeah.
I was heartbroken. Justin, if you're watching this, you made me so sad when you told me you just didn't like this one. Move on, buddy. It's time to grow up.
Accept.
You're older than me.
Embrace new things.
Embrace new things. I love you, but... So, Ride Majestic. Super good. my favorite track is. It's hard to say. I wanted to say the title track, The Ride Majestic, but my favorite track is actually the last song. And we went through this on our last list, where I'm always like, the first song or last song, or I'm such a sucker for those. But the song is called Father and Son Watching the World Go Down.
Oof.
And it is
cool title.
Phenomenal.
Probably cool song.
Great riffs. It's a great song. I'm going to make sure I send you a link to this tomorrow so that you listen to it. And you remember, because it is. Right. I feel like you should. Because it is. If I were still doing ecstasy and a lot of drugs like I used to do, I'd be doing them to this one. Yeah. Out of all these albums.
Oh boy.
Ride Majestic, So I Work. Awesome.
Ride Majestic, So
Love
I Work.
Number 3.
That's his number 3. We're on to number 2. Mm-hmm. We are getting down there.
Getting into that.
You're getting into that. And I am still deciding which order I'm going to put these in, because I've kind of been just narrowing it down as we've been going live.
It works fine. I mean,
so I'm gonna make a last minute change up. Okay. Because I was gonna say this one was my top, but I'm gonna flip it on you. And this is the one that you know is on my list.
I knew this was on your list.
Go ahead and say it.
Sonor and Deprivation.
No!
What?
Actually, that's not on my list. That's in my honorable mentions.
Oh! You son of a bitch! No, I've been bamboozled!
No. This is my top 2020 Spotify artist. This is Skeletal Remains.
I'm so stupid. I'm such a stupid
Skeletal
man.
Remains.
I didn't even think about this.
The Entombment of Chaos. I mean...
This isn't your number 1?
So, okay, to counter that, though, is Sonor and Deprivation, sorry, yeah. Came out really, like, at the same time I found out about Black Breath. I found out about Creeper and Black Breath at the exact same time, and Black Breath outdid them for me. That's literally all it comes down to me.
That's
all it comes down to for me.
I could have swore... I'm going to say it right away. My first thought was, Sonor and Deprivation. Gate Creeper was going to be your number 1.
I fucking love that.
And it didn't make my list at all. I'm going to say it right away. It didn't make my list at all.
It's on my list in the honorable mentions. Okay. I have 5 honorable mentions.
All right.
But, anyway, Skeletal Remains, holy fuck. Talk about taking what Morbid Angel did in the 90s and 80s and 90s and then just blending it with what is happening right now.
Very much Ultras of Madness.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, way better.
But then just bringing that modern technical death metal element to it. Holy shit. Such a fantastic album all the way through. Honestly, that's the one I listened to tonight before you got here.
I feel kind of guilty that I didn't put this on my list at all.
Yeah.
And I literally was like freaking out about this just a few weeks, probably a month or two ago. Yeah. Saying it's probably the most groundbreaking, best death metal record that's come out since. Holy shit!
It embodies death metal and it carries that torch to a new level. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we're past like the OSDM, like the old school death metal sound.
Beyond that,
it's transcending and it's rebranding death metal. It's so good, and we saw them live.
We did.
And I started a Skeletal Remains chant, which is one of my best accomplishments of my entire life.
I was there, he did.
I crowd surfed with them too.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Barely, I was too fat at the time.
I was drunk. But they were so good, man.
They were so good, man.
But this album is so groovy, like with that groovy death metal, the drumming is so tasteful. The vocals just hit that perfect, like, you know, like it's a deep, pocket. But like raspy and just everything. Also, another, I really appreciate guitar player vocalist bands.
Yep.
I love it. I play the same guitar as him.
I pointed this out. I pointed this out, by the way.
No, he's the one.
But I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And no, that's sweet though. I mean, we're on the right path.
Yeah. He's way better than me.
Well, I wasn't saying that to agree. I mean, like, obviously they're more seasoned musicians than we are because they're. I mean, they've been going hard for a while. Like even before.
Yeah. All the albums leading up to that one are fan-freaking-tastic.
I cannot even remember the name of the album before that one. That's the one I have.
They have hard song titles.
And they have... they had an album out before that, like 2 albums ago, where they were
they were going
all over the place.
And so today, I just realized they remastered the first 2. And they recently put them out in 2020, and they are so fucking phenomenal.
I mean, if you're like 14 and you're just discovering death metal, that would be the band to hear.
Yeah, this is the one, because you can actually go see them. They're in their fucking prime. I mean, they are
the new Morbid Angel.
Literally, the new Morbid Angel. Because I mean,
Morbid Angel's not even Morbid Angel.
No,
I didn't put any Morbid Angel albums on this list at all.
I would have.
There was only one that was.
I wanted to piss Lyndon off. I really wanted to put Elude Divinum Satanis. I'm just kidding. I couldn't put that on there as a full album because there are some songs I don't care for, but there are some of the best songs Morbid Angels ever written on there.
Yeah,
Nevermore. There's
Destructo's versus the Earth.
That one's really cool. Yeah.
Fuck you. That album is so goofy.
It's so
but
goofy.
That's a cool song.
Yeah. I mean, the I Am Morbid. Yeah. All right. Whatever. Throw that out. We don't need that one.
Dave Vincent. I used to love you, and you.
I still love Dave Vincent.
Broke my heart.
Voltamas. I can't believe I didn't put Voltamas on
He needs to lose the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
That's my thing with that band.
True.
And he needs to play bass again. You fucking bitch.
That's also true.
Anyway. Favorite song on that?
What did I put? I put, Congregation of Flesh. That's got one of those...
Was that a single? That was one of the singles they released?
I think so. I don't remember. But either way, like I said, I listened through most of these today and skipped through them. Skip through. I found my favorite songs.
Skip through,
because I wanted to find my favorite songs. But I listened through this one all the way. But it's got this super chuggy riff, real choppy chug riff.
Kind of got that half speed drums.
They do the reverse reverb snare drum. And oh my goodness, I am a sucker for that over a sick riff.
We're gonna do that on every album.
There's a song on the new album that has it.
Good.
It's already happened. He hasn't heard it yet. I haven't done it yet, but I've been planning on it.
No,
it's in my notebook. It's happening. So anyway,
cool.
Completely amazing album. That is my number 2.
Salute.
And again, that's just one I put on and I listened through it all the way through. I listen to it a lot at work. When I'm walking around locking doors, at the end of the night, I just pop my headphones in and I walk around this building. It's a huge building and I'm locking doors and stuff. And
I'm kind of mind blown as much as you've gone on about how much you love this that it didn't end up being your number 1 at this point. Even though I was completely wrong about what your number 1 was going to be.
My number 1 is...
Now I'm really curious about what your number 1 is going to be. Because I was for sure it was going to be Gate Creeper.
You're not going to be that surprised. Let's go.
Probably not. Okay.
Number 2.
So my number 2. I told you earlier today that my number 2 was one that
you're gonna fucking piss me off right now.
And this may be the longest discussion of the night, or it might be the shortest. I don't know. But my number 2 favorite album in the last 5 years came out in 2015, and it's Ghost Meliora.
I knew it was gonna be Ghost. I knew it. As soon as you told me, I was gonna be mad. You were gonna say Ghost.
My favorite thing favorite thing about us is you don't get it, and I love it, and that's fine.
My only thing is, Ghost is not metal, so that does not belong on our list.
That's debatable.
They're not.
I feel like you haven't listened to enough of this one to make that claim. Structurally and songwriting wise, probably, but this is Meliora is the heaviest one they've done. You squint, but I know you haven't heard it as much as I have.
No, I'm giving you shit just for fun.
Yeah,
because I respect it and I understand that they're pretty good songwriters.
If I was going to be
put on a great show,
well, that's another part.
The live show I've heard is amazing.
I was gonna say
I'm gonna give them that.
If there was an album by a band I know you don't necessarily like that I would be like, Dan, you're gonna fucking sit down and I'm gonna strap you to this chair and you're gonna listen to this record, it would be Meliora. The songwriting,
I'll take it.
the songwriting's phenomenal. It's so weird and groundbreaking to me. Maybe I don't know shit. Whatever. I'm some 32-year-old fucking long-haired blonde
This is a
dude
bass
who's
player.
well, that's the thing, man. That was so. The bass on this album is the distortion. It's the perfect bass distortion. It sounds so good. It's.
I don't know. Have you heard Weed Eater?
Yeah.
We're talking about different. We're.
I have.
Apples to oranges,
that
though.
is absolutely.
Apples to oranges.
But
Anyway.
but no, I agree. His Dixie's bass
Yeah.
distortion is.
That's a different.
Wicked.
That's a different podcast.
But it's the same thing with Gojira, right? Perfect bass distortion for
Yeah.
what they were
Yeah.
doing.
I think he's just a Sanzap guy. I think.
You would know better than I would.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
I have ears.
Yeah.
But Meliora, every song is good.
Yeah.
It's so catchy. It is just. You know, I've been listening to Ghost since I torrented the first album before it really was released. I'm not much of a hipster.
Yeah, he is cool.
Fucking suck it.
Before it was cool. Yeah.
I was listening to Ghost before anybody around here. But sue me. But honestly, like I kind of like the second album was like, it's cool, but it was really weird. Like that's arguably like the weirdest one they've done. But the Meliora came out and they were just like, fuck it. We're gonna get really crunchy. We're gonna get really catchy, and it's gonna be super operatic. Some of the vocal parts are just there's some keyboard parts. There's some keyboard solos that are just, I mean, transcendental. I cannot speak to the musicianship enough on Meliora. The production is huge. They haven't done this again. I really, really like their most recent one, but they have not done this again.
Then honestly, maybe I need to listen to
I'll
this
bring
one.
it over. Anthony has the record,
I will
and
give
I'm
it a
going to
shot.
bring it over, and we'll jam it.
I got an open mind.
It's really, really good.
Even though I make fun of him a lot.
Yeah, and look, again, don't get me wrong. When people make fun of Ghost, most of the time it's warranted because they are weird. But
I just make fun of him. I'm just going to put this out there real quick. I only make fun of him because all the like metal blogs worship him.
People get
and just like all these like metal like websites are worshiping him, and I'm like, they're not.
Look, I feel like the same kind of people that
shouldn't be on there.
It's different groups, right? But the same kind of people, the same people that get butthurt about people not liking Ghost, they're in the same category as people that get mad when you don't like Pantera.
Yeah, I get mad. Why don't you like Pantera? What? No,
I like Pantera. So for the record, we both like Pantera. But anyway, you know that feeling, right?
No, I know that guy.
And it doesn't bother me when people don't like Ghost because I get it.
I get it.
They're weird. But little known fact, at least on my end, when we started Pit Lord, my initial reference to a band with a theme was Ghost.
Sure.
Because that is a band that plans 2 to 3 years ahead in their like storyline of their characters. And the main guy, what's his name? It's
Tobias
not Peter.
Forge.
Tobias Forge. He's played in death metal bands. He's played in punk bands. He's a huge Morbid Angel fan, by the way.
Yeah. Right. You're sucking me in. You're selling me on this. All right.
One of the smartest, if not probably the smartest underground musician.
No, I will give you that. And honestly, I shared it. I thought some of that too when we were making this. You know,
It's that Look, I'm not going to make an argument for people that like Ghost. I'm making the argument for why I like Meliora so much and why I enjoy the band. I enjoy everything they've done. And I think there's a lot of things there, and like I'm getting like dead serious. I think there's a lot of things about that band that if you don't like Ghost, you should just sit down and just put your own dick in your mouth and just listen to Ghost for like 20 minutes and just try to figure it out, man. Like it's, again, if you don't like it, it doesn't hurt me because I like it. And I have plenty of fun listening to Ghost. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But Meliora is amazing. And my favorite song on that is going to be... so there's one honorable mention I have, and then there's my favorite song. My favorite song is a song called Majesty. It was like the second or third single they released, and it is one of the smartest, catchiest riffs I've ever heard. And has a really interesting chorus. When choruses get weird, that's what I love. It's like, wow, you picked that to be like the chorus, right? Arguably the most important part of a song.
Yeah.
Structurally, like so. ABA, BAC kind of pop writing.
Yep.
Again, back to the pop writing thing. But then there's a song called He Is, which is essentially like a love song to Satan. And it's like if the Beatles... I always thought of Ghost as the Beatles and Dokken together writing songs about Satan.
Those are two things I don't enjoy.
Yeah. Number one, Dan, you're number one.
My number
the one that I don't know.
I switched up since we've been sitting here, which to Lyndon's surprise. But
I'm really excited because I don't know what this is.
It's become more relevant because of the tragedy that occurred in 2020. The lead singer passed away at a very young age, and it's devastating. But we got to see him at Full Terror Assault, and they fucking tore.
Oh my god!
They tore up the small stage.
Oh my god!
And I can already tell he's mad he didn't think of it.
No, I did think of it, and I took it off my list. You son of a bitch!
I'm going with Power Trip, Nightmare Logic.
Nightmare Logic.
Yeah.
What year did that come out?
2015,
17.
I think. 17. Whatever.
I only know because I had it on my list and I took it.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
No, you're
right.
it's
But, man,
100% support
come
your
on.
number one. Yeah.
I mean, talk about just the new wave of crossover.
Life changing.
I mean,
Christ.
They completely revitalized the genre. Like they lifted it up from the ashes of 91 or whatever, and
crossover existed plenty before Power Trip, but like
the way they did it though, man, it was so honest, and it was so tight. I mean, the way they performed it was just I had this on my number one, and I took it off. Yeah.
Based on what I was saying, how it's just things that I've not been able to stop listening to, and my number one just topped this a little bit.
I tried to go back a little bit, because I couldn't stop listening to this for at least
a
year. I don't know. It was a while that I listened to this.
I think it was the first picture disc that I bought, and I
remember you brought a picture disc.
It sounds like shit
It
now.
does. It sounds really bad.
Because I could not... Cool. I played it like 8 times, which is what happens to a picture disc.
Yeah, I just have the plain black vinyl, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
But Riley
Gale,
Riley Gale, yeah,
everything about it.
The songwriting, just so amazing. It's definitely one of those bands where more isn't always more, less is more. That's the phrase I was looking for. More isn't always more. That's the
Confucius say more isn't always more. Play an E standard.
That's the new way we're saying that. Less is more. No, I mean they took that approach and they just drown it in reverb, and holy crap, did they turn some heads? I mean they won some awards. Even?
I don't know.
No, they did. I mean, they won some awards with that album, and yeah, huge loss to the metal community, because I mean they were going places and they were doing things, and I feel like the vocalist was a big part of that.
Dude, I mean,
I feel sorry for the guy that's got to fill those shoes if they're gonna keep going. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
they are because if you were in Power Trip and. I mean, as much as you wouldn't want to, it would be so stupid for you not to.
No, you can't let that die.
Monetarily speaking, and you have a lot of people that still haven't seen them. We were so lucky.
So lucky.
You and I are so lucky that we got to see them at Full Terror Assault.
In a small, intimate setting where, I mean, they were on a smaller stage.
Holy shit, yeah. I ran
close to them.
That was when I did the air guitar contest. I was tripping on acid. And had got second place in the air guitar contest and had to run all the way back to our trailer to drop off my grab bag.
Your goodie bag, yeah.
And run back because they were just
they
getting
were hitting the stage, and man,
fuck.
They fucking rocked that stage. Like, they were a force when I saw them.
And it's, I mean, again, just, and this is a weird thing that I always mention, but like a vocalist that just holds the mic stand.
Yeah.
Or Riley Gales, he was more of like a...
No, he would rock it, you know. He would move the mic stand around with him.
Dude, it's just, I don't know why that's so cool, but it's like...
It was so good.
Is there a band that defines, like, you know, wearing chucks and jeans and like a baseball cap?
Yeah.
And you look filthy, like
they were the 90 kids grown up.
Yeah.
You know?
And
like to a T. And
just the riffs.
Oh,
I mean,
riffs.
We covered. I don't remember how we decided to cover Executioner's
It was
Tax.
pretty unanimous. Either one of us brought it up.
One of us, and we're just like,
one of us brought it up, and it was just like, yep. We're playing
it's
that.
One of the coolest songs
Such
ever
a cool
written.
song. Love that we covered it.
One of the funnest songs. I mean, even
love that we played live. Yeah, it's so fun to play live.
A couple times. And somewhat did it justice, but man, nobody's Power Trip.
Yeah, we're
nobody's
not
Power Trip, man.
Yeah.
Like nobody will be Power Trip.
You know what?
Yeah.
To our boy Riley Gale, to Power Trip.
I'm sure a guy from Texas is going to love me toasting to him with an IPA.
It's okay, I got whiskey. Iowa corn whiskey, though, so... Oh, it's really smooth, actually. That's good whiskey.
Do I even have to ask your favorite song?
Nope. I put Executioner's Tax. I mean, I do love... I mean, there's the whole album's great, but...
It really is. It is a one and done. Like, that starts and it's over before you know it, because it is just
you don't turn it off. It just gets
it's almost
to the
a
end.
Slayer length, I want to say. It's like 30 minutes solid.
Yep, it's got that vibe for sure. Just super solid.
Well, yeah.
So anyway,
awesome.
That's my number one. Now let's hear Lyndon's number one. I'm really excited. Honestly, I'm super excited to hear this because I have no idea. I honestly have no idea what you're going to put.
You would never guess. And honestly, I wouldn't have guessed that because I was too worried about where that was going to be on my list, and then it didn't end up on my list at all because I listened to it for like a solid year and then haven't since then. You know,
that's fair.
I probably listened to our version of it more because we were jamming it so much and mixing it and stuff. So
that's completely fair.
It's that song. Power Trip to me is so much part of Pit Lord because we covered it and we were like so stoked about it.
Yeah, maybe we were too close to it.
Probably, yeah. But you know, what was the album before that? Echo.
Why'd you have to ask me that?
We both own it. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
So, anyways, my number one.
Your number one
is another one you haven't listened to enough. That I've been pushing on you for quite a while.
You're not going Frozen Soul on me,
nope.
are you?
No. Frozen Soul didn't make it. I haven't had enough. I only got that new one.
Not enough time with it. It's
like
good.
2 days ago, and I only got to listen to it last night.
What do we got?
My number one came out in 2018. It came out, and I didn't discover it until you were listening to the Death Atlas album.
Ooh.
And all I kept saying was like, this is really cool, but this one is grabbed me so much more. But they're really close. They're really similar.
I couldn't get turned away from Death Atlas when
and that's Aborted. Terror Vision.
Of course.
Is my number one favorite.
No, I do love that. Yeah, I really like it.
We haven't, I guess you and I
haven't
listened to it enough.
Given it
together.
enough time.
I
haven't.
I would even say there were others. So Aborted is a band I discovered around the time I discovered Gojira because they were both on listenable records. Gojira, Aborted, and Textures. I think they were, and Diamenta. They were all on listenable records, which is this weird French label. There's also a band called Scarve, and a few other ones that have kind of disappeared into oblivion. But those handful of bands all came from this label called Listenable Records when we were in like 9th grade. And Aborted, they were kind of a band I was like, oh, they're cool, but I don't know, they have this weird kind of gore theme to it, which I feel like is kind of fallen to the wayside at this point. But man, another band that was on tour with Cytotoxin, So it was Aborted, Cytotoxin, and Benighted on a tour together, which is probably the coolest fucking tech death tour. I'm sorry, Arcspire. I like Arcspire, but all those bands I like better than Arcspire. They're just more fun.
All right.
But Aborted, dude, they have been a recent, just in let's say in a year's time, I have probably explored more of Aborted's discography than any other band. And I wouldn't say Terror Vision is my favorite release by them necessarily, but in the last 5 years, man, I mean, nothing has grabbed me like the album art did, like the songs did, like the mix, like and again, I'll be forthright. I don't know much about production other than what I hear and what I like. Dan has a better ear for the engineering side, but I can just be like, I really like the way that sounds. And Aborted, their drummer, I would give so much mention to this drummer who does probably the tightest bomb blasts I have heard, especially on this album, on the title track Terror Vision. It's so tight. It's so... Again, kind of back to Benighted, it's in your face. It doesn't give a shit. It's serious, but it understands what it is. I mean, the theme, I don't even know if there's a theme to the album. It's just, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's there, and it's so aggressive, and they even do. I mean, they do everything you've heard in the last 5 years. They do these chugs. They do these that kind of backwards scrape. Gojira scrape your like they do it so well, and it's
speaking my language.
It's so back to what I was saying before. When you were listening to Death Atlas, that's when I was hardcore discovering Terror Vision, and I was like, Death Atlas is cool, but this came out the year before, and I was like, why is nobody freaking out about this? And I'm sure there were, but we just don't. We don't have a lot of friends that listen to Aborted necessarily.
Sure.
Which is, whatever, fine. I've been all about it, though. It just, as a band that I ignored for years and years and years and years, the theme of this show has been, why the fuck haven't I been listening to this?
Why the fuck haven't I been listening to that?
Forever.
That's
right?
it.
And
again, Lyndon got me. That's like 4 out of 5. Why the fuck haven't I been listening to this?
And like, Aborted, they were kind of weird to start, but dude, I've gone back and there's like Retro Gore I was just listening to today, and they released a new EP just earlier this year called Le Grand Dance Macabre, I think is what it is. That might be a Marduk album, somewhere around there. But 3 or 4 songs that are heavy as fuck. They also do a dope ass Sepultura cover of what's the first song on Arise? I think they cover Arise.
Arise, yeah.
And it's so cool. Imagine a tech death band covering Arise, dude. And you're like, whoa, holy shit. I mean, Aborted. I feel like they're still underrated. Those are our top 5 from the last since 2015 to 2020.
Real quick, right before we wrap up, I'm going to do an honorable mention.
Do your honorable mentions. I don't really have any.
Man, I had such a hard time with this list because there were a bunch of them, and there was one that I just knew would make you mad.
Okay.
That I wanted to put in there, and I didn't because I just knew it would make you mad. But I wanted to make you mad, so I wanted it in there, but I didn't put it in there. Okay. So I'm going to say that one last. Anyway, I had ones that won't be that surprising to you. Fear Factory, Genexus. That is such a freaking good album.
I was just going to laugh at that one.
Yeah, you can laugh at it all you fucking want, dude.
That didn't grab it.
Man, Soul Hacker. Okay, and one of the big things is, I did see the 25-year anniversary Demanufacture tour. It was after this album had come out, and they played this song, Soul Hacker, live, and it had the deepest bass drops out of the whole thing. I mean, whatever it was, 2,000 people in this, mid-sized venue in Chicago got rumbled. The fucking floor rumbled. I mean,
like shaking your
God,
skull.
It was so cool. So cool, so forceful. Love it. Mr. Bungle, The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
I'm more of a thrash guy than Lyndon. I mean, super thrash.
Yes, to start.
Super thrash, like amazing. And it was written in '86, so re-recorded
that's
now.
Kind of what I forget
so
about
totally, it kind of threw me off of this here. This.
So again, I'm a big fan of Mr. Bungle. I'm a big fan of like California, which is so not thrash. It's the weirdest thing.
No, yeah, I mean they're a band that's all over the place.
Yeah.
And then the one that was at my number 5 before I replaced it with Cytotoxin is, and I had to replace it. It was on there for a while, and I kept coming up with other stuff.
Mad?
No, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
No, this was my number 5. This is Dying Fetus. Wrong one to fuck with.
Yeah.
Wrong one to fuck with is so good.
I honestly thought of that one too, but I hadn't heard it enough. I hadn't listened to it enough.
I mean, I hate to throw him under the bus, but pretty dumb album title.
I was not a fan when I heard that.
Pretty weird.
I feel like that's...
It's a pretty weird thing to go with.
Look, I don't like politics in metal either, but I enjoyed their more political theme before in the early 2000s.
You know what? I'm just going to push that title all the way to the side because the album is so good.
It's brutal. Anytime you've played it, I'm like, this is so cool.
I got the song in there. Yeah, Fixated on Devastation. That was the first thing I heard from it. That's the first song on the album. It's got these crazy shred parts with crazy slam parts. It's like the fucking perfect juxtaposition of technical to slam.
The funnest power trio.
Oh, yeah.
How do they do that? And that bassist is just like...
Yeah, no, they just do it.
I don't understand. He puts
the
pick in his mouth.
I saw him at Summer Slaughter. It was a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And it was... a little while after, like, pretty much right after this album came out. Anyway, they were, like, touring this album, and fuck, they were so good. They honestly impressed me so much seeing them live. I mean, they blew a bunch of big bands out of the water. Yeah. I mean, Black Dahlia Murder played after them, and Dying Fetus destroyed them. I like Black Dahlia Murder a lot. But... Dying Fetus destroyed him. Dying Fetus destroyed him.
Because Dying Fetus has fun songs and Black Dahlia Murder.
I did see Origin that night, but the sound for Origin wasn't quite as good.
Which is so hilarious because the night we saw Origin during the rainstorm,
it was the other way around.
Dying Fetus followed and nobody gave a shit.
They kind of didn't do it for me.
I was bored.
Did not.
They were the first death metal band I ever saw.
Yeah.
Didn't give a shit.
Nope, didn't care. But at that show, they were so tight. Like... they were locked the fuck in. I mean, everybody's hitting.
Screwed in.
Oh my god. Alright, so now the one that's going to piss Lyndon off. Fuck everybody. Slayer Repentless is a cool fucking album. Really cool album. Really cool idea to tie in an entire, like, film that goes along with 4 or 5 of the songs. I even went to the movie theaters and saw the Repentless... they did all the Repentless videos and then a live show. It was like a little bit of an older live show, but it was really cool at the movie theater. And it's a cool album. I mean, that song, Repentless. It's just like a straight up good feeling thrash song. Which is not what you would expect me to say about Slayer, like, Slayer, they're killing people, but, like, it's just such a fucking fun listen, man.
It's feel-good thrash.
It's a fun listen.
And
all you gotta do is just completely disassociate. I get it. Jeff Hanneman is my idol. Like, I love Hanneman. And an album without him doesn't feel right. But if you completely just disassociate that and listen to the album for what it is, it's great. It's a good album.
I think you probably think I was gonna get more angry at that than I am, just because I've only heard like one song off of it.
It's great,
and I haven't.
It's a good album. Bo Staff kills it on the drums.
I haven't embraced a new Slayer album since.
And Gary Holt's fantastic.
So. Yes, those guys are all good. I love Paul Bostaff. I like God Hates Us All.
And I really like Araya's vocals on this album. I mean, he's.
Yeah, that's Tom Araya is one thing I was never super stoked on for the last 20 years of Slayer.
Me either, but I grew to love him.
Yeah. It's like I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. Not really. No, it's an honorable mention. It didn't even make the list. Your list. I'll fucking make it up to you when I listen. Make you listen to Ghost, and you're gonna be like, oh, "This is good.
Yeah,
I like this."
We'll see. Right, Jury's out on that one. I might not.
That will not be an episode. Because I'm afraid of how my head.
We can now agree on. You got any honorable mentions?
No, not really. I had some, but I forgot all of them. And realistically, okay, so there was one, and that's Chemist. Hunter.
That is really cool.
Chemist Hunted, and Absolution both came out.
I do really like those. Those are cool.
And yeah, really, really great. They even the most recent release, they did a really awesome Dio cover, the Rainbow in the Dark. It's just amazing. I'm not a huge Dio fan, but
big Dio guy.
Super good cover.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're really cool, and they were on my list originally, and I took it off because I was like...
There's so much stuff that's come out.
So much stuff,
years.
man, and it was really hard.
It's hard, and we missed so many things.
We were texting each other back and forth all day. It was like, I had to make a bunch of changes.
Oh, yeah. Symphony X Underworld.
I didn't really get an Underworld.
2015. I didn't either. It's really cool, though.
Is that a Bastards of the Machine on it? Is that Underworld, or is that... I'm thinking of...
Oh, that's Paradise Lost, I think, isn't it?
No,
it's the one after that.
Yeah, I didn't get into Underworld at all.
Underworld's different.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Which is bad.
I just found out it was in 2015 because I like it.
I saw it on a list and I was just like, scroll past that one.
It's still cool. I'm gonna go see them if they tour anywhere near me.
But yeah, that's our list.
That's our list.
And we're gonna try not to do another list for the next episode.
Yeah, we'll do something completely different.
I don't know what. Because at the point we're recording this, we haven't even released the first one yet.
Yep.
Because that's how
we're going to make a bunch of episodes and then release them slowly.
We're also working on the new Pit Lord full length, off and on, slowly, while we kind of get this stuff together. So
it's like halfway written.
Yeah.
It's like a third of the way written.
That would probably be more accurate.
I'm going to go with a third.
But
I'm going to go with a solid 2/5.
I'm going to do something we forgot to do last episode. Which you'll see eventually, is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, we're trying to grow the YouTube channel so that we don't have to rely completely on Facebook and just social media in general, because fuck that. And we want our YouTube to be sort of the hub. So make sure you subscribe and share it and like and do all that stuff. And, yeah. And we will be back at some point. Cheers.
Ow.
Yeah! That was... Ooh.